Hello, Josh Dawson, Realtor with Core Ohio Realty Advisors. I am really excited today to introduce you to Mark Jaynes, my preferred lender, and somebody who helped my wife and I buy our first home last year. Now, I save people from making bad real estate decisions every day, and today we're going to chat with Mark to make sure that you guys are making the best real estate decisions in 2019. Let's go chat with him. Mark, thanks so much for having me today. I'm really excited to chat with you today. I guess for those who haven't met you, and hopefully they will meet you soon, tell me a little bit about how you got to be owner of Rapid Mortgage Company.
Sure. So I've been in the industry about 24 years now. So I started off as a loan officer working for a big company, did that for about 22 years, built a large team here in Columbus. 2 years ago, was afforded the opportunity to buy a stake in Rapid Mortgage. The main benefit for that is we felt like we could change the process and help more buyers if we could really engineer the entire process from start to finish. So I bought the company 2 years ago and have really been working hard to perfect our system and make it as user-friendly for buyers as possible.
So as a real estate agent, I might know the difference between a mortgage broker, a mortgage lender, pre-approval, pre-qualification, go online and apply for a loan versus sit down with you guys. What are the benefits of working with Mark Jaynes, the Jaynes team at Rapid Mortgage, as far as being able to service real estate consumers in Central Ohio? What are the benefits?
Sure. So, I mean, the way that we look at that is there's a lot of technology these days. I use Amazon all the time for, shopping and things like that, but we feel that the home buying process is too complicated and too big of an investment to click a few buttons and get a magical approval and, not really have a chance to talk to somebody. So even though we have all the technology, we've gone more low tech. So we're local, we underwrite local, we process loans local.
You mean your processor isn't in Atlanta and your underwriter isn't in Scottsdale and...
Nope, right here in Columbus, Ohio. And the big thing is, it's a big purchase. So we want to sit down face to face, answer all of the questions, educate the consumer on the process. And that's just really difficult to do over the phone or over the internet. So we like to sit down, shake a hand, look them in the eye.
Right. One thing I love about working with your team, and frankly, I don't know if you're watching this, but my wife and I bought our first home this past year in Dublin, and Mark was our lender. And part of the reason why I love to refer folks to Mark and his team is because we had such a great experience. Now, if you're Lindsay and Josh Dawson right now in the spring of 2019, or if you're watching this later in the year, and you want to buy a home in 3 to 6 months, what are the 1, 2, or 3 things that should be at the focal of the game plan right now to get ready?
Sure. So the biggest thing is the more time that we have ahead of you being ready to buy, the more we can work with. So as in your particular situation, there was some false information on your credit report because we looked at that 6 months before you wanted to buy a home. We were able to get that fixed, issue a strong approval, and not have any issues when we finally got into contract.
Talk about the difference between, say, a pre-qualification versus approval.
Sure.
Because it's important, because I work with a lot of sellers during the day, and when we receive offers, I make sure that I see a pre-approval letter versus pre-qualification letters when I'm reviewing those offers with sellers. So tell us a little bit about the difference between those.
Sure. Yeah, so we actually have a level 1, 2, and 3 approval. So the first is a pre-qual, which basically means that we've gotten information verbally over the phone or they filled it out online. We've pulled credit, but that's really as far as we've gone, and that's considered a pre-qualification. In the market right now, those aren't really worth anything because sellers want to know that not only have they just filled in some information online, but somebody's actually looked at all of their documents. Mm-hmm. So a pre-approval means that you've supplied your pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, bank statements. We've reviewed everything to make sure that we're working with real numbers and have actually issued a solid pre-approval. We also go one step further and actually underwrite the file at pre-approval instead of waiting until you get into contract. So we basically want to look at everything so there's no surprises when you go to write the offer on the home. We want to guarantee that you're going to be able to close on that property.
Now it's tax season right now. I'm a regular wage earner. I'm looking to buy my first home or buy a trade-up home, if you will. in the next few months. Is there anything tax-wise? Obviously, you're not an accountant or a CPA. We're not giving tax advice right now. But are there tax-related things that you're seeing during the day that you're now advising clients on as far as like filing returns or anything like that that we might want to know about?
So if you're pretty straightforward, you get a paycheck and a W-2. Really the main advantage is get your tax returns filed because a lot of times you're getting a refund. Okay. And we can utilize that refund for the down payment or to work on paying off other debts to boost a credit score. So we've got things like that. If you're a commissioned or self-employed individual, then there's a lot of nuances that come into that because obviously one goal is to pay as little tax as possible, but that also could show income too low to qualify. So we like to be involved in that conversation to make sure you're not filing a return that basically invalidates you from buying a home until next year.
Okay, so Mark, we're moving on from, say, the first-time home buyer, right? Now we're moving on to chat about that individual or that family that is looking to sell their current residence and purchase a new one at the same time. Mm-hmm. Now, as a real estate agent, I can say the absolute best situation we can be in is you do not need to sell this home that you're in currently to qualify to purchase the other one. Now, many folks are not in that position. The reason being that that's such a strong position for them to be in is that when they're going to make offers on homes, when I'm working with them on coming up with a strategy for a purchase of another home, if they don't have that home sale contingency, their offer is looked upon as much, much stronger by a seller out in the market right now. So let's talk about the person that might not be able to remove that contingency. So they're going out there and they own a home that they need to sell in order to qualify to buy their next home. Now, in your experience, what sort of things could they be working on right now, or what sort of ducks can they get in a row to ensure that that process, not that it ever goes smoothly, but can go more smooth than otherwise?
Sure, and with that type of situation, obviously the key is having everything financially ready to go. So that's where we would go through the full process, have everything completely underwritten, so that if they get their home in contract that they're selling and they need to close within 2 weeks, that we can facilitate that. Okay. Obviously the best case scenario is we can finance without the contingency, and we've got some really aggressive programs to be able to do that, even tapping into the equity in your current home to use as the down payment on the next property. So we kind of start with, do they have the means and the income just to own both? Mm-hmm. Do we need to get the money out of the equity of the current home, or does it have to be sold in order to qualify? But the more that we can sit down and walk through that whole blueprint with them, the easier that process would be. Like you said, it never goes perfectly smooth, but we can get ahead of a lot of those details.
So I'm hearing a theme here. Talk to folks like you early in the process. Mark, is there ever a time that's too early to get a lender involved, the Mark Jaynes team involved with the home purchase?
In my opinion, no. The biggest thing is we stripped away any kind of application fees, any kind of cost up front, because we want to talk to people as early as possible. So we don't want any reason for them not to come in. So even if they're 18 months away, I can sit down with them now and we can go through what your payment would look like with 5% down, 10% down, 15% down, so they can know if they really are trying to save up for that. If there are real credit issues, the longer time we have, we can fix almost anything on a credit report. Yep. So that's a reason to come in and do it early. The other thing is too, a lot of people wait until they're ready, but their definition of ready could have been 6 months earlier. So they think they're 12 months away, and it happens every single week. Somebody says, I'm going to need another year. We sit down, show them how to buy a home with just 3% down. We show them what they qualify for today, and then they're out tomorrow looking at homes instead of needing to wait that 12 months. So we want to have that conversation, and maybe they are 18 months away, and that's fine. We'll just stay in touch, communicate, just kind of keep that conversation going, but a lot of times we can speed up that time frame.
So, as a listing agent, somebody who works with both buyers and sellers in this market in Central Ohio, one thing that I do when we receive offers on behalf of my client is I reach out to the lender whose name is on the pre-approval letter or pre-qualification letter on behalf of my sellers, and I run through a few questions to see how strong is the documentation behind the letter that they just sent me. Mm-hmm. Many times I can't even get them on the phone. Now, you do something that is really, really neat with my clients. we make an offer on a property for my clients. What do you send to the listing agent on behalf of that client when they're reviewing that offer?
Sure. The Columbus market is super robust, so we do anything that we can to help differentiate the buyer's offer. So we've actually started recording personalized videos for each buyer to go along with the pre-approval letter. The issue is if you've got a pre-approval from a bank, from us, somebody else, all the paper looks about the same. So unless you know our process, you don't know that it's different. So we record that video to let that seller know that we've already met with these clients. They've supplied all of their documentation to us. They're fully underwritten. They're highly qualified to purchase the home. We feel that that really gives more validity to it because we're vouching for your buyer to that seller. And again, saving the time as the listing agent doesn't have to try to track me down, doesn't have to try to get us on the phone. We answer, but like you said, a lot of people don't.
You answer your phone? It's an inside joke here in Columbus. There are a lot of folks in the industry, real estate agent, lenders. I mean, just getting somebody on the phone is tough sometimes, really tough.
Yeah, so that video saves all of that. I also have a large team available so that we're basically available 7 days a week.
Okay, and your folks are in-house here as far as local, so if there are any issues underwriting or processing, you can just walk down the hall probably and have a conversation with somebody. Right?
Yeah, every step of the process, and that was one of my big keys to deciding to buy the company, as I wanted to have control over everything from the first time we talk to a client all the way until they have their keys to the home, and hopefully years into the future as well. So everything happens here in Columbus, like you said, not California, not Texas. Yeah. Everybody's here. Everybody has a chance to meet the client, understand who the client is, so that they're just not a number on a spreadsheet.
And also it adds that layer of credibility when a buyer's going out there and saying, hey, we're working with a great local lender. I can't tell you how many times I've received equal offers to be presented to my seller clients, and offer A has a pre-approval letter from some bank, Cleveland or Florida. They see them on TV, so they think versus offer B, similar price, similar terms, similar condition, and then offer B is a great local lender with a personal cell phone number I can call and talk. And it really adds a layer of credibility to a buyer's offer that most folks who are looking to buy a home for the first time might not understand that until maybe they got their first or second offer rejected. Mm-hmm. So now, Mark, we've discussed somebody who might be looking to buy their first home. We've discussed folks who need to sell and buy at the same time and kind of manage that process. Now let's move on to the third type of person that I'd like to chat with you about. This is somebody who's owned a home in Central Ohio for at least a few years, right? They're not remotely interested in selling their home in the near future, and usually they don't feel a need to talk to a lender. Now, what would be a reason that they might want to reach out to somebody like you right now?
Sure, a couple different reasons for that. I mean, one would be is if they put less than 20% down when they purchase the home, they likely have some form of mortgage insurance on the property. Columbus real estate has appreciated at close to record levels over the last few years. They may now have 20% equity. The lender is not necessarily going to reach out to them automatically because that's a revenue stream for the lender.
And Mark, when you talk about equity, what is that? Let's try to boil it. The street talk here. What does that mean?
So basically, equity is the difference between your home's current value and the mortgage amount that you owe on the property. So if you've got a $200,000 home, you now owe $160,000 on it. You've got $40,000 in equity. That puts you at that 20%, and you could get rid of that mortgage insurance. So that could save you $50 a month, sometimes $200 a month. And that's something, again, the lenders aren't necessarily going to be proactive in reaching out, so it's a conversation worth having just to see if that's there. Rates are a little higher than they were a couple years ago, so we may or may not be able to lower the interest rate, but it depends. We might be able to actually reduce the mortgage rate at the same time we get rid of mortgage insurance and save, family a couple $100s a month.
Which is huge. I mean, I can tell you my wife and I were just going over our family budget for the next month, and a few $100s pays for a decent amount of diapers and a decent amount of food at Costco and Whole Foods. So I can attest to that. So Mark, if somebody or somebody first-time buyer or somebody looking to buy and sell, or just has like general questions for you right now in the mortgage world, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I mean, we're accessible every which way. You can go to our website, which is rapidmortgagecompany.com. You can call the office here, which is area code 614-845-5200, or my personal cell phone, which is area code 513-673-7235. So however you want to reach out to us, whether it's through email, on the website, phone, we'd love to start the conversation.
Excellent. So folks, thanks so much for tuning in. I wanted to just introduce you to Mark and his team here. Mark has done just a tremendous amount of just gone over the top for my family, for my clients, and just really helped me get deals done for buyers in a really, really competitive market right now. So Mark, thanks so much for chatting with me today, and I hope the folks that are listening got some value out of the conversation, and I look forward to many more transactions with you this year, and wish you and the team the best.
Sounds great. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, man. Wow. I hope you can appreciate why I love working with Mark and his team so much. Now, if you'd like to follow up with Mark and to schedule a chat to ensure that you're making good real estate decisions in 2019, feel free to shoot me a message right now if you're watching this on social media, or visit joshdawson.com and click schedule a chat. Again, this is Josh Dawson, realtor with Core Ohio Realty Advisors. I can be reached at joshdawson.com. Hope you have a great day.